Hi divas, welcome back to my bunker, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Bella, nice to meet you. Today we're going to be tier ranking moments from the Formula 1 2025 season. A lot of things happened that season, you know, some epic, some like, what was that? And you know, some memorable. So let's get into this video. So these are our different ranks from absolutely golden, which is like, I love this is everything, and this has my whole heart, to diva moment, like, you know what, tea. I love that. I felt like that was necessary. And then we have what was that? It's not even like, oh my gosh, this is like great, but it's not like it's terrible. It's just very much like, what? Like, okay. And then we have I wasn't moved. It might have been like an epic thing to people, like a diva moment to people, but it just didn't move me, right? And then race ban. I'm not for it. I don't like it. I'm just not a fan. Like, race ban from me. Okay, so yeah, that's our tier ranking list. So let's get into it. First, we're starting with Franco Colapinto saying history isn't written by cowards when he was fighting like P17 or P18 with Pierre Gasly. I'm sorry, I thought it was diva. I thought it was diva. But then someone now tweeted, they were like, oh, this would be so like legendary. This would be so peak if you went fighting for P17. Why did you have to say that? Why did you have to say that? Like, God forbid he wanted to aura farm for like 2 seconds, right? The next we're going for is Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri at the Canadian GP. What was that? No, what was that? And I love that he came out of the car, so this is Lando, and he literally said, my fault. Because I remember watching this race in a pub, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is like a crazy battle. I wonder who's going to come out, you know, unscathed. And Lando just like shot himself in the foot. Like, in my head, I was like, what is it? How is he like, huh? What did he think was going to happen at the barrier? And then he said in an interview, he was like, oh, I thought Oscar was going to give me space. But then he now went on to say like, well, like, I also know that I wasn't meant to do that. And it's like, yeah, like, what are you doing, my love? So that was a very like, what was that moment for me? Next, we have Oscar at Baku. That was the beginning of the end. This can't be my Oscar. This can't be him. This can't be him. And then you now have this picture where he's just sitting there watching the race. I was like, oh my Shayla. Oh my God. I was genuinely so upset, and I was like, no, it's okay, we're going to bounce back. And I was saying that for months. I feel like that was definitely a what was that moment. I feel like I didn't understand how he ended up there. Like, we were just getting started. We were just getting started, and you're in the wall, you're in the barrier. Why, my love? Why? Moving on to Yuki Tsunoda replacing Liam Lawson at Red Bull. At first, I was like, oh my days, I'm happy for Yuki. He's wanted this promotion. Like, this is like this is diva. I'm happy for him. But then I now sat back and realized, oh my days, he's going to suffer. Race ban to whoever decided that. The joy was stripped from him. Stripped. Yuki looked depressed so many times. Understandably so. That cursed second seat at Red Bull really ate him up. And then that's also like him losing his seat at the end of the season. Yeah, that broke me. So race ban for whoever decided that. I know people might disagree because obviously it's a promotion, but realistically, is it? Like, Yuki could have had a podium possibly if he stayed at VCAP. Look at Isaac. We'll get there in a second. But you know what I mean? So like, race ban. I hate that they did that to Yuki. Nico Piastri will have whoever did that. Nico Piastri will have your head. Staying on the topic of Red Bull, let's go to Christian Horner getting let go, getting fired by Red Bull. This was absolutely golden, right? I'm just going to start with that before I actually give my explanation. I was on holiday in Lisbon when this happened. Right, I woke up, I saw you know that when you open Instagram as someone who has F1 all over their FYP, that big F1 announcement, breaking news poster, Christian Horner leaves Red Bull. I said, pour me some tequila shots. We're having a party. We're having a party. And then going online and just seeing everyone celebrate, I was like, this is the most community, like, us as a fandom, as a group, have felt in a long time. Yeah. You know, with the McLaren domination, I felt like we needed that. We just needed that thing where literally every single person was happy. You had Red Bull fans celebrating. So, absolutely golden moment. I feel like he needed to pay for his crimes, and, you know, this should not be, and just hearing that he might be coming back, I'm worried. Now, moving to my team, Ferrari. We're going to address the most important thing from the season. Your consistency with P6, P7, 6, 7 killed me. I could have done without it. I could have done without it. I wanted like race wins. I wanted 1-2s. I wanted a championship contender. I wanted a championship winning car. We were doing Lyco. We'll get to that in a sec. But that's what we're stuck on. We could have done without that. Actually, you know what? I was going to say put it in I wasn't moved, but I think that's going for race ban. Yeah. Yeah, that's going for race ban because I don't want to see that in 2026. So let's actually ban that. Let's ban that from the 2026 season, Ferrari. No more P6, 7. No more 6, 7. Throw it out with a trend. No more 6, 7. Thank you. Now on to like lighter topics. Let's talk about Kimi Antonelli's first podium. Kimi is like the sweetest driver, one of the sweetest drivers on the grid. And his pictures, like with George, even after winning the podium, was everything. I feel like he deserved it. He's always put his head down. He's always been humble. And I'm so glad he had his moments. And I'm so glad he got his podium. And he went on to get more podiums after that. And I look forward to seeing him potentially fight for a championship in 2026. So I think Kimi's podium, I'm going to put it in diva moment. I'm just happy. I'm happy for my little diva. Now, sticking to the Mercedes family, George Russell's 2025 prediction saying Red Bull, I think he says Red Bull will lose a championship. That was absolutely golden. I would have given it diva moment, but I feel like it deserves more. He told me I'm not a good enough hater. He said I'm not hating enough. And he was like, well, I love his consistency to being a hater of that team. And people were like, no, it's not. There's also, and Max will be doing heated rivalry with the way that they're always going head to head. And with the possibility again of Mercedes being in contention this year, I feel we're only going to get more diva moments from these two. Yeah, they're going to be having a diva off. George, I feel like he would obviously come out on top in terms of ultimate diva and hopefully for the drivers' championship as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to those moments. So for me, George Russell predicting Red Bull's downfall, absolutely golden. Going back to Red Bull, let's talk about Isaac Hadjar being promoted to Red Bull race ban. I don't feel like there's much to say there. I just hope that I'm proven wrong, because that's one of my drivers. Like that's someone like I would go to war for. Like that's familia. And you want him to go through the same thing Yuki went through? I'm just hoping and praying he doesn't, because I still want to see Isaac Hadjar in Formula One, and I hope this doesn't ruin that. So for me, this is race ban. This is race ban. I'm scared. So yeah, and I know he's been like, oh, I'm confident I can take up this, responsibility, but like, Isaac, I'm confident in you. I'm not confident in Red Bull. Okay? And maybe it's me being overprotective, but like, that's just how I feel. Carlos Sainz's first podium in Williams. I wasn't moved. I'm sorry. I feel like people are going to come for my neck. I wasn't moved. I mean, because I'm not like a Carlos Sainz, like, truther. Like, I wasn't moved. I was just like, okay, great. Like, it's not even trying to be a hater or anything, but like, I just, like, okay. If anything, I wanted Alex to get a Williams podium before Carlos, because I do love Alex. But either way, like, I'm happy they got a podium last year, and apparently they are meant to be, coming in hot this year, but with the way they started preseason, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I feel like, happy for him. He got a podium, just wasn't moved. Now moving on to the Hulkenberg podium. I personally am a fan of the unks dominating. Okay, I'm a fan of uncles doing amazing. So I'm gonna put Hulkenberg getting a podium in like diva moment, because it's so diva to have been in the sport for so many years, not getting a podium, not getting a race win, and then at like a point in your life where people think, okay, maybe he should retire, he gets that podium. That's diva. A part of me probably would have ranked this in like I wasn't moved, because like Lewis could have gotten like that podium, or like I'm trying not to be like salty about it. So I think it was diva. The Lego race with the Formula One drivers was such a peak moment from the F1 25 season. I've never seen all the drivers so happy at the same time. It brought me joy. Like just seeing them happy playing, like just driving in those slow ass Lego cars, like it was everything. Seeing Lewis and Charles like trying to move the car with their body, you know, those ones, they've been forced to just get shit done themselves, you know, if the car is not working. Everyone else was just trying to, you know, have fun. They were being competitive. They were trying to move that car with their body. I absolutely love that race. I think it was absolutely golden. So we're going to be moving that to absolutely golden. Now we're coming to Mr. I'm Useless, Lewis Hamilton. You're getting a race ban for that because I don't want you talking about yourself like that. I said that video was on my TL for like the whole day. I was avoiding it. I was like, I'm not watching this. I only watched it by mistake. I think my finger just like when I was scrolling through videos, it went on the video and I heard it. I was like, so you are getting a race ban for that statement. Not when I'm around. Not on my watch. Now we have the double McLaren disqualification. I could have done without this. Because again, as someone who was rooting for Oscar Piastri to win the World Drivers' Championship, this did not help my cause. We had every point we could get. So I'm going to put this in like, what was that? And as you can tell, McLaren is very much sitting in my what was that box. I just noticed it now. They were genuinely stressing me out the whole season. Isaac Hadjar's Podium. This is absolutely golden. Again, that's my driver. And just hearing his reaction on the radio when he was like, what are we doing? What have we done? What have we done? I was like, oh my God, what's it about Seeing a team like VCAB on the podium with a rookie was just wholesome. Like I loved, and I'm still living. George Russell and Max Verstappen heated rivalry continues. Spanish Grand Prix. What was that? I remember watching this and I literally went, did he just like intentionally crash into George? And then when they gave him that penalty, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I was like, oh wow, so you did. You did. Right. Now, typically I'm going to put this in what was that, but I'm going to put it in like diva. I'm sorry. I think that was a bit diva. And I know Max hates when people like bring this up, like, oh, do you feel like you know, risked your championship by doing that in Spain? And he was like, oh yeah, there are many other factors. Why do people keep pinpointing that one? It's because like you did that one yourself, like deliberately. Like that one, you just handed it to McLaren on a platter, right? And I know he said that obviously he didn't even see that he was going to win the championship. Fair. But at the same time, I feel like as an F1 driver, it's very easy to lose hope. But every chance you get, in my opinion, for people who come for me, you should always want to win. You should just always put your head down and win, right? Just like, and maybe that's why I like Oscar Piastri for. But I feel like he lost his head in that moment. And that was one of the many reasons why he didn't win the World Drivers' Championship. Still, I think it's diva. Because like sometimes, God forbid, a girl has anger issues, you know? The bright side with Ferrari is Lewis Hamilton's China GP win with Ferrari. Wow. And you know, I actually missed that race. I had to watch highlights because of like time differences. I woke up to see the whole TL was happy. Mood was up. It was golden. When I actually watched it, obviously he like basically dominated like the whole race. But to think that Lewis brought Ferrari their one and only win in 2025, that's a win in my box. So that for me is absolutely golden. I love that moment. I'm glad that Lewis is the one that gave them their one win in 2025. And some people were like, oh, it's a sprint race. It's not a real race. You literally just said it's a sprint race. What's that? A race. Now moving on to the gift Charles Leclerc gave George Russell for Secret Santa. The overtake. And then not only did he give him in a picture frame, he also gave it to him in like a video format as well. That is like real petty behavior. That's real. You know what that is? Real diva behavior. That's real diva behavior. Yes. He said you're not escaping this. Like in case you think the picture is enough, it's not. Here's a video. I'm going back to Ferrari. We have the double disqualification of Ferrari. After the high of the sprint race win with Lewis, they both got disqualified from the actual race. What was that? Like that is going to my what was that box, because what was that? Ferrari, they will have one high and they're like, you know what, that's me done for the year. Back to suffering. Oscar's gritty at Miami was necessary. Was it abysmal? Yes, but it was very necessary. I didn't think he was actually going to do it. I was like, oh, he's probably going to forget, but he literally said when he was coming to the end of the race, he thought to himself, oh shit, I have to do the gritty. I'm glad he did. It was wholesome. I don't know if anyone was really expecting it, but he did it. It was awful, but we're happy we have that on file now. Thank you. Going back to my team, Ferrari. We're talking about Lyco. Yes. Yes. If I hear now, everyone is saying that for the 2026 season, Lyco is going to be very important. I hope so, because we did a lot of that. We did a lot of that in 2025. So I'm hoping that all that practice we had in 2025 really helps us fight for one, if not both, of the championships, because please, I need a win. I'm going to give it like a what was that. We'll be doing so well, actually. There's so many races where we'll be actually getting some momentum, getting some pace, looking at overtaking. And next thing is time to Lyco. Now we're losing time. Jack Doohan being replaced by Franco Colapinto. I'm going to put it in, I wasn't moved. I'm just going to put it in, I wasn't moved. Because again, I don't think it was fair on Jack. But at the same time, I was happy for Franco. But I just wish he came in under different circumstances. Yes. Max laughing at the McLarens at the Italian GP. I had to laugh with him. I had to, yes, because of a slow pit stop, you're making them swap positions. This has to be a joke. McLaren, Max said that your team is a joke. Are you really going to take that? Please, let's not do more of that this year. But you know what Max was for laughing at that on the radio? He was diva. Because like someone had to say it. Because like there's no way you're making me pay for your crimes. And staying on theme for McLaren war crimes, not celebrating the World Constructors Championship with their, at the time, championship leader, Oscar Piastri. Race ban! Like, no, baby. We're not having that. Now, going to a moment in the 2025 season that just boiled my blood was the Mexico GP and what they did to Lewis Hamilton. The double standards. Everyone was overtaking off the track. It was only Lewis that down got a 10-second time penalty. They keep playing my driver. It's not fair. Race ban. Like, it's actually not fair. You can't be doing that. It's double standards. It's clear as day. They knew he was going to get his first podium for Ferrari, and they said, not on my watch. The FIA, I don't know whether you guys have a personal vendetta against Lewis. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because he tries to talk about issues in the world that doesn't have to do with Formula 1, and you're like, only talk about the cars on the track. Maybe that's why you find little moments to mess with him. It's not fair. Moving on to Cadillac announcing their drivers lineup in Checo and Valtteri. You know, the unction. I love both drivers. I think they're both hilarious. And again, like I said, I'm one for our senior citizens still being in the sport and possibly dominating the sport, okay? So for me, this is a diva moment. Just seeing two experienced drivers that were actually good drivers back on the grid. Now let's talk about Qatar GP. This is a memory I don't like to revisit. The Qatar GP is like a horror movie in my head. Aside from obviously like the sprint race and like qualifying for sprint and, you know, stuff like that. The Qatar GP is a horror movie. Cause how will you not pit your driver under a safety car? How did you just manage to lose your driver second? You were going to get a 1-2 in the championship and you just lost it for one of your drivers because you guys like McLaren. What? Race ban. My driver as well. Next is Charles doing a whole photo shoot once he's out of a race, once he DNFs. What was that? But at the same time, it was diva. Like he was actually posing, watching the cars, like the other cars that were like driving, you know, fighting for the podiums and, you know, getting points. Charles said, you know what? This is a great moment for a photo op. Get my good side. Ferrari taking 40 days and 40 nights to swap Charles and Lewis when Lewis could have, you know, started catching the person in front of Charles and then Lewis going, you know, take a tea break while you're at it. That shit was absolutely golden. I wasn't expecting that from him because again, I feel like he's very like calm in his radio messages. So I thought that was everything. Now going to Max closing the gap to the McLarens, right? I personally feel like McLaren's just gave him so like Max raced beautifully, I feel like, and he was consistent once he got that car like under him, like moving and working well. He did it, like he was phenomenal. At the same time, I felt like McLaren and, you know, on occasion Oscar and Lando gave him freebies. freebies. And he said it in an interview, he was like, I was collecting gifts along the way. Because there were so many mistakes that McLaren kept making. And it's like, yeah, I know mistakes are normal in the sport, but it got to a point, like, you guys were declared, like, obviously they still won both at the end, but like, you could have literally won constructors, drivers, gotten 1-2 at the same time, like, but you just let Max chook his head in there. That's going to go into, I feel like I'm going to go to like, what was that? Because I just feel like McLaren handed Max that on a platter, but at the same time, Max did drive beautifully. So I'm not like, you know, disregarding that fact as well. Oscar's Grand Slam moment. This was an absolutely golden moment. Like, I was so happy for him. Like I said, this is my driver. So seeing him get his first Grand Slam was just everything to me. And he was the only one to get a Grand Slam in McLaren this year. So I'm like, yeah, that's like that. A win is a win. Even if we lost the Drivers' Championship, at least we left with a Grand Slam. So yeah, absolutely golden moment. I was, you know, I was happy. I was happy with that. Now, Lando winning the World Drivers' Championship. Like I said, I'm an Oscar girly, right? So Lando winning the championship, it didn't necessarily sit well with me, even just knowing that it was going to happen, because, you know, by the last race, we needed like some exceptional circumstances to happen for, you know, Oscar to win it. And even at that, you know, Max was in the lead. Max was on pole. Max won the race. So chances just kept deteriorating from there. Like, okay, I don't really care. Sure, yeah, go Lando. But then radio like commentary and like the celebration after the fact, I was moved. I was. And as somebody who wanted someone else to win the Drivers' Championship, aside from Max, who has obviously won it for, you know, 3-4 years in a row, I was happy to see a fresh face. I do feel like Lando winning the World Drivers' Championship was a diva moment, because although I am an Oscar girly, Lando was getting a lot of hate. Like, he was getting like, people were dragging him unnecessarily a lot in 2025, like a lot, right? Like, I understand like little jokes here and there, but they were seeming quite personal at a point. So seeing his reaction at the end of it and knowing like, you know, mental battles that he has struggled with, I was like, you know what? If it wasn't going to be Oscar, I'm glad it was you, Lando. This is my tier ranking of moments that I obviously consider somewhat epic or memorable from the 2025 season, and this is my ranking of them. Let me know if you would arrange this in any other way. Obviously be nice in case like, you know, you didn't like my ranking, but these are my opinions. Yes. But yeah, this was fun to do. It was fun reliving the 2025 season before the new season starts next month. Oh my god, guys, we are so back. So knowing that we're going to be so back, make sure you are subscribed so that as I'm posting YouTube videos following the F1 26 season, you're here with me. We're watching it together. We're bonding, right? So please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends and your family that like Formula One or are trying to get into Formula One. I might be streaming on YouTube at some point, but you would only know if you're subscribed to subscribe. Thank you.
Can you feel that? We're done here. Move out of the way, I'm going to run you over. Bye, kid.